What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm in Georgia right now, taking a little vacation. I'm from Georgia originally, and many of you may not know, but I do have an old pickup truck that I've kept here. I've owned for about 11 years. It's just a 98 Chevrolet Z71. It's got 153,000 miles on the clock. It's not doing too bad for its age. However, it's starting to show its age, so I figured I'd take some time, put a little money into it, and keep it on the road for a while. And today we're going to do the NBS, or new body style Chevrolet master cylinder, brake master cylinder upgrade on it, to see if we can gain some of the pedal back. They're notorious for having a real soft, squishy pedal, and you can go and grab the newer body style truck. I think it's like 99 to 07 brake master cylinder, and swap that on, and it's supposed to drastically improve the brake pedal feel. So we're going to give that a shot today and see how that goes. So like I said, it's nothing fancy, but it is my truck, and I've had it for a long time. 98 model Z71. Owned it since 2008, and I've probably put about 52,000 miles on it since then. So being in the military, it did get used a little bit when I was in the States, but once I moved overseas, it got very minimal use, and probably got about 5,000 miles on it in 6 years. So, but the brakes have always been poor feeling on the truck, and I wanted to go ahead and try this new body style master cylinder upgrade and see how that works. Really, the only thing I've done with it is a little bit of cosmetic stuff, a nice bumper, LED floodlights, wheels and tires. I've had those for a long time, so looking to upgrade those as well. I've got a LED light on the back for some work at nighttime, LED tail lights, LED third brake light, just minor little things, nice exhaust. Inside, really nothing special, it needs to be clean, just radio, but it is nasty. It's been getting used for hunting, so really nothing there. It was tuned years ago by a friend of mine, Mr. Todd, Blue Thunder Racing. So does great work with LS stuff, and even got this old girl running nicely. So anyway, we'll lift the hood up here. All right, so here's your notorious old squishy brake master cylinder. And today we're going to upgrade it with this, I think I got it from AutoZone, this Duralast master cylinder. Pretty inexpensive. It's only like 60 bucks for the master cylinder, and get some fluid and stuff. One adapter that you got to have. I think I got it in here on the seat, actually. This guy right here, AGS BLF 26C. I mean, I know there's tons of videos out there covering this, but this adapter basically gets you from 9/16 18 pitch to 1/2 inch 20 pitch, and that's because the new master cylinder is 1/2 20 on both sides, whereas the old master cylinder, see its back side here, is a different size. So you got to use an adapter on there to put this new thing on, but other than that, it's a direct bolt-on setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break loose those lines, pull this master cylinder off, stick the new one on, get it bled. Comes with some hoses, attachments, and then see if we can feel any improvements on the brake pedal. So here we go. All right, so just about got rid of this, got this ready to pull off, and I want to just take a second and explain what all it goes into it. So you've got a couple of 5/8 bolts or studs back here holding it on either side. You just need to loosen those, take the two nuts off. Before I do that though, I like to loosen the brake lines so this master cylinder isn't wiggling all around while you're trying to break them loose. So first off, take you a 9/16, break loose these brake lines so they spin freely. Then take off your 5/8 nuts back there. Once you got the nuts off, drop this little bracket that hangs underneath over the two studs, go ahead and loosen the rest of your brake line the rest of the way, and you're gonna have to pull them back and kind of out of the way a little bit, and if you can, kind of a little bit upward to keep them from losing a bunch of fluid. And the less fluid you lose out of there, the easier it's gonna be when this thing go back together, as far as bleeding goes. So we are gonna bleed the new master cylinder on the truck. Comes with some hoses and fittings to do that. So to me, that's the easiest way to take care of it. Go ahead and pop these guys out like so. I'm not losing any fluid. It's maybe a good or bad sign, I don't know. And then master cylinder off. So there we go. Really quite simple to get it on and off. I'll lay this over here on the ground, and then we'll get this new one out of the box and compare the two. And there's your part number right now. This is my truck is just a standard four-wheel drive 1500. However, it's considered a heavy half-ton. So it does have some heavy duty things like the rear axle, front control arms, a couple other things. They're just a little bit beefier. But it is not Hydro Boost master cylinder, so that's one thing you got to look out for when you're buying your master cylinder. So here we are, side-by-side comparison of the two. Ports are just about in the same place, but I think I've been told that the old one's a little bit lower. I may be mistaken. But we'll find out when I get it on. I'll explain it to you a little bit better. So let's go ahead and get this thing out of the bag and set up for bleeding. Alright, so we got this new master cylinder mounted up, and you can see here from the brake line locations that they are a little bit farther forward on the old master cylinder and a little bit higher. So you will have to kind of massage these, lower them down, move them around, do what you got to do to get them to line up with those holes, but it shouldn't take much. It looks quite straightforward. We'll go ahead and pop out these plugs and get the bleeding kit that comes with it here. I'm not tripping over everything. Really all you get is a couple of hoses and a couple of fittings that'll screw into that master cylinder, stick the hoses on, and then I'm not quite sure what the caps are for. Maybe it's if you bleed it on the bench and you want to pull the hoses out, probably slip the caps on the end of these, keep it from leaking going over to your vehicle. So, and I'm gonna do it on the truck, not on the bench. It's easier to utilize the brake pedal in the truck to do it, if you ask me. Drop these hoses in there, fill it up with some fluid, and then start pumping, get some air out of it, transfer the new lines on, and see what we got. So let's get this bad boy busted open and put on. Alright, there you go. So you can see that I got these little adapters in here with the outlets on them, so you can hook on these hoses and you drop your hoses down in your master cylinder. First, I'm gonna go ahead and top this off with fluid. These are a 1/2 inch wrench to get those tightened down. Don't over tighten them, they are plastic. They will cross thread very quickly, just to get them snug and you'll be good to go. Brake fluid, really you can do what you want. .3, .4. I'm just using your old standard .3 if I can get in there and get it out. So I didn't really have a reason to go with anything any different or any higher grade. But you can go with .4. I think it's rated a little higher for heat. So if you're doing heavy towing and burning brakes, it'd be a good idea to go .4. Here we go finally. So yeah, the standard .3 brake fluid, whatever brand you choose. So let's top this master cylinder off, get the hoses in there, and start bench bleeding. So I did want to point out real quick, just be careful not to get this fluid on anything, especially anything painted or your hands. Very corrosive. And I'm just going to top this thing all the way up to max. It does have a max reading on the side of the jug. like any other vehicle should. See how much of this bottle it takes. I'm assuming it's probably going to take all of it. So we're up to max almost on the front tank, but it's still filling the secondary. Let that settle. You guys should kind of see it there. Slowly rising up as it crosses from tank to tank. Still wants more. And looks like one bottle almost gets you full all the way. So there's my max reading. My level's just below it, low down there. We're doing good. So I'm gonna drop the hoses in real quick. Make sure they stay submerged in fluid, because if you start getting air while you're pressing your pedal, you'll just continue to circulate air throughout. So make sure that these hoses are nicely submerged down there. You can see it bubbling, so that's good. All right, we'll get on the time lapse. See if we can see some bubbles going through here. So I decided just to do this real time instead of time lapse, so we can kind of see the circulation of fluid in the bubbles. It's already started to kind of push fluid into it to the level of the fluid. You can see the back's going now. You can see it back there creeping up the hose, which is kind of cool. So anyway, I'm gonna jump in real quick and start pressing this pedal. I can't see it because my hood's in the way, but maybe you can. I'm gonna do it slowly. I can see the front hose from my point of view. I can't see the back one though. Maybe if I roll down my window. Grab my keys out of my pocket and roll down my window. Bear with me. Okay. Oh yeah, now I can see both hoses. See air in the second one, the farthest back. Still, keep pumping. But looks like the front's pretty clear. Still a couple small bubbles there at the bottom of the pedal. But you can see kind of when I let up on the pedal to come back into the hose, you want to make sure that your hoses stay submerged in the fluid, so you're not sucking air back in when you lift off your pedal. A couple more little bubbles there. Just keep going till everything's clear. Oh, I'm gonna stop for a second and make sure that hose didn't pop out of the fluid, because I definitely don't want to have to start over. If you have to, you can wedge something down there between the hoses in that harness and maybe keep it from moving. But looks like we're pretty good right now. I'm gonna pump it a little bit more off camera, make sure it's good to go, and then we'll hook up the adapter and then pop out those plastic hose adapters and get the hard lines put in and see how it goes. So I did want to point out real quick that adapter does go on that front hard line to make it the same size as the rear. And just a little tip of information, when you're taking loose your hard lines with that, what was it we had, a 9/16, I believe it was. It's best to use a line wrench for that, which is nearly closed all the way around rather than open on one end. That way you prevent stripping those fittings. If you strip those fittings, then you're kind of screwed. You're going to have to do some work on these lines that you didn't want to be doing, and it's going to make your project a hell of a lot longer. So I recommend using a line wrench on those fittings. However, if you do use an open end wrench, I didn't have a problem. They've never been off before, so for 20 something years, it came off quite easily. I just didn't force them. I gave them little light bumps with the palm of my hand on the wrench until they decided to come loose themselves, and they just ease right on out. So don't be overly aggressive with them if you're using an open end wrench. They'll come off for you probably, as long as it ain't super corroded, but highly recommend using a line wrench. So now I'm just going to pop off these hoses and get these lines screwed in, and then we should be good to go. We might need to do a little bit of bleeding. You might get a little bit of air in your lines. I haven't had any fluid come out of them, so I probably won't have a big issue as far as that goes. And then if I need to, I'll bleed the brakes later and see how it goes. Okay, got them fittings in and tightened up. Just fair warning, once you back out those plastic fittings for the bleeding hoses, they're going to start getting fluid running out. So do it quickly. All that's left to do is just put the cap on real quick, and then I can jump in the truck, fire it up, and check the pedal feel and see if it feels any different. Check for leaks. And then if there's any more bleeding needed to be done, it's going to be minimal. Like I said, there was no fluid coming out of the hose, the hard lines, when I took them off. There was some that came out of the master cylinder when I changed over to put in these hard lines. So I could have got some air in there just then, but hopefully I will be able to work it out with the pedal. And so let's try that real quick. Get my tools out of the way so we don't lose anything. Go in here and fire it up. We are dead cold, so enjoy the cold start and music. Still runs good. I'm gonna hold this door button so it quit beeping. I'll start giving me some pedal feel. Pedal does feel quite a bit different. I may need to do a touch of bleeding, but definitely stronger. Before you could just about push it to the floor, whereas right now it's stopping about 3/4 of the way down. Okay, so before I get going driving, the first thing I like to do is, as I'm backing up, I'm going to stop the truck just to make sure that it is going to hold steel well. It holds steel well in reverse. Back up a little bit and get on the brakes. Stop strong, so I will continue. Check it one more time. Oh yeah, that feels good. Feels quite a bit better already. So far, so good. So I'll get up to about 40. Do some light braking. Yes, sir. Guys, that pedal feels good compared to before. Very positive, very reassuring, whereas before it was almost worrying, especially if you're pulling something. Sorry, I'm gonna roll up the window. There's some wind noise here. But it felt very, very unsettling before, especially pulling a trailer or something. The truck would almost feel like it just wasn't gonna stop if it was heavy. So this pedal definitely feels phenomenal right now. 100% worth your $70, $80, depending on where you buy that stuff from, your fluid, your master cylinder, to get a pedal feel like that. I'm gonna go ahead and speed up. About 55. I'm gonna give it a good hard stop. So here we go. That was standing on it. Now I do have an ABS issue. My ABS won't work, but I didn't lock up the tires either. So I got pretty good sized tire on here. I don't imagine it's gonna have enough power to lock those up, but that's okay because it stops good. So I'll do that one more time. all of them that time. So, all right, well, I will say I'm satisfied with that. Never heard it nearly lock up the tires before, so. So yeah, get it done. If you got any questions for the process or whatever, I didn't cover something well, just drop a comment below. I'll try and help you out. I know I don't do much on my channel. I apologize. I would love to do more, especially with the Skyline. If you haven't seen any of my videos of my GTR, just check back in my videos. Take a look at some of the other stuff I got. My Camaro. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thumbs down if you didn't, and let me know what I need to do different. I mean, like I said, I apologize. This is a cell phone video. I don't have a GoPro with me right now, but I figured since I was doing this process, it may help somebody else become encouraged to do it and see how easy it is. So give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. Maybe I'll start throwing some more content out here. Let me know what you want to see. You want to see the Camaro? You want to see the truck? You want to see the GTR? You want to see it all? Just let me know. I'm in the States for a month, so there won't be much truck content or Camaro content to go around for a while here, because I live in Japan. But the Skyline, I'll definitely have plenty of time to make some videos on. So let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.